Hey guys, hope you guys are doing good. I don't know about you, but I need a hug. Let's bring it in for a hug. Oh, yay. I miss hugs. They say hugs like release oxytocin or something like that. And I think nowadays we need more of that. So if you're not living alone, you've got, a spouse or a significant other or kids, give them a really long hug today because you guys both need it. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about processed foods just for a little bit. A lot of us think that processed foods are just inherently bad. Like whenever we think of the word processed food or the term processed food, it's just like an automatic, like negative, unhealthy, bad for us, makes us fat, just bad for our overall health. But you probably don't know maybe, but the majority of what you eat is probably processed food. So I'm actually going to read off the definition of what a processed food is by the USDA. I didn't memorize it, so sorry I have to read it, but it's, so according to the USDA, processed food is defined as any raw agricultural commodity that has been subject to washing, cleaning, milling, cutting, chopping, heating, pasteurizing, blanching, cooking, canning, freezing, drying, dehydrating, mixing, packaging, or other procedures that alter the food from its natural state. So that's the definition of what a processed food is. So that being said, what are some of the pros to processed foods? They're not all bad. There's definitely a long list of pros. With processed foods that we get, they're usually at the peak of freshness and the peak of their nutrition. So that's actually a major benefit to having processed foods. They're generally more flavorful because, again, there's the addition of like spices and different ingredients that help make the food taste better. They can also improve digestion and improve our gut bacteria and gut health with like fermented foods and cultured foods. So like your yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, those types of foods. Those are, again, processed foods, but they have healthful benefits to them. The fortification of foods. So a lot of our processed foods are fortified with vitamins and minerals, so that actually definitely boosts the nutrition content of the food item. There's a whole bunch of variety of, in our food system now. So whether there's canned foods, which not all canned foods are bad, frozen foods, and then of course versus your fresh foods. So there's a huge variety of foods out there, again, whether fresh or processed. And of course with that you get the convenience part of our food. So you can grab and go with different foods. There's salad kits out there. Your cheese sticks, those are processed. Protein bars, granola bars, which can be a healthy part of your diet. Those are all foods that are super convenient, but they're considered processed. A lot of our processed foods actually promote safety and good quality. So a lot of them have certain ingredients that will improve the shelf life and prevent the spoilage of that food. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, processed foods there. And then I already mentioned like the shelf stability. So a lot of our processed foods can be stored for a long period of time. So that's great, right? So you can just have a bunch of stuff stocked in your pantry. It's considered processed, but it's definitely useful, right? So it obviously makes it so we don't have to go to the grocery store as often. And a lot of those foods would be considered a healthy option. So now there are, I guess what I would call ultra processed foods, which aren't necessarily always healthy. So processed foods in general can be healthy, but there are the what are called ultra processed foods that are generally on the unhealthier side, and those foods generally are like stripped of their good nutrients, like fiber, for example, and other nutrients that are beneficial. So again, they've gone through a ton of processing where it's basically almost like not even identifiable as like a food item practically. So a lot of them have like added fats, added sugars, added salt. So what comes to mind is like our candy bars and our sugar sweetened beverages and all of that stuff. So and a lot of some of the foods in like the freezer food aisle, or the prepackaged aisle, those might be considered ultra processed if they have a lot of the added fats, sugars, and salts and that type of thing. So again, in refined grains, flour, for example, that would be refined. And then like I'm thinking, a whole piece of fruit, like an apple, for example, that's been converted and processed into applesauce. So that applesauce is healthy in a way, but it has been stripped of certain nutrients, again, like fiber, for example. But the take home today is that not all processed foods are bad. Whenever you think of someone or hear someone say, like, I avoid processed foods, well, you got to think, well, what does that really mean? And does that person understand what a processed food actually is? So it's just something to think about. So again, I used to think that way too, that, oh my gosh, processed foods are so bad, but we got to think about, well, what is the actual definition? What includes what is a processed food actually? But yeah, so that's it for today. Just wanted to touch on that. Sorry, I'm talking quietly. If you guys wanted to know, I'm actually sitting in a lactation room. This is where I actually pump breast milk at work, and I'm trying to be quiet because there are people in the rooms next to me and I don't want to be too loud and disruptive for them. But anyway, that's it. So you guys, thanks for coming by today, of course. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you again very, very, very soon. All right, take care. Bye.